Welcome! In this video, I'll be talking about my experience as the deaf driver. So come along for the ride. There's a huge misconception that deaf people can't drive. So I'm going to invite you to come along with me for a ride. Let's go. Alright guys, whew, it is hot here today. So we are going to go and get some pizza because I'm hungry. Alright. So for the purpose of this video, I'm going to be voicing. Alright, so a lot of people think we can't drive because it's unsafe to hear. However, our four other senses do make up for it, especially sight. And in my perspective, my eyes become my ears. So when I'm driving, I'm usually literally using my eyes to foresee everything in the roads. I'm looking at the car in the back. I'm looking at this dead old roadkill that's in front of me. Um, I look in different sides of the windows just to make sure that I'm not missing anything. So it becomes 100% visual perspective for me as well. Was it hard to learn how to drive? Well, I would say yes, a little bit. And that's mainly because of the resources that I had available at the time when I took driver's ed. You see, when I took driver's ed, and I remember this when I was 16, that I had to go take a class that nobody provided an interpreter for, okay? And they showed all these videos that didn't have any sort of captioning available. So how was I supposed to understand what was everything going on? Well, I had to work really hard to follow along and to see what my other peers were doing. And of course, they talked about all the different road safety. like keeping your eyes on the road, what the light mean, um, all the different traffic rules and what you have to obey. And so this just goes for everything as well. But I really, really, really had to pay attention really hard in class because it was a lot of information and I didn't have the communication resources. In terms of driver's ed, meaning taking the car in class, that was actually a pretty unique perspective, if I recall correctly. So you have the two cars where there's the driver and then there's the other driver too. They have the wheels and all that. Um, I remember like before signing up for all my driver's classes that telling the instructor, "Hey, I'm deaf, so you're gonna have to be really mindful how you give me instruction too." And we went over all these different safety issues, protocols, communications, what have you, so that we make sure that we're on the same page too. They did indicate, like, sometimes they would touch you if they needed to take your foot off the pedals or indicate where you need to go. And I just remember that I had to like look briefly across for any sort of instructions while keeping my eyes on the road. So that was kind of a bit of a unique situation there. But there was no hesitancy other than, the normal 16-year-old being in the car, learning for the first time. And we went well overall. We just had to make sure that we had some good communication preferences ahead of time. So, like I said, guys, just gonna go pick up some pizza. It's Friday. I'm hungry. That's like our normal Friday night. It's just not pizza. So, yeah. Plus, for 50% off, I'm all about that. So, how do I communicate in the car? Well, it's actually a little harder for me because my eyes are on the road. So, if somebody's talking to me, they know that they can't really talk to me because I cannot take my eyes off the road. So they're going to have to either wait or to tell me later. Um, Sometimes I may be able to look over briefly just for a second just to get what they need to say if it's really important. But really, for the most part, my eyes are on the road at all times. I'm ready for that pizza. Oh man, it's been a long week. Been a good week, but a long week. So you may be wondering, what about emergency ambulances like fire department, police cars, and all that kind of thing? Well, again, that kind of goes to just being really visual. And like, I may not hear the siren coming, but if I notice cars moving out of the way, that's a really good indication that an emergency vehicle is coming. In an intersection, especially if the light turns green, I don't immediately go right away. I was actually making sure to look left and right to ensure there's no like emergency vehicles coming down this way. Now with my code clear, I can be able to pick it up a little bit, um, but like I said, it comes down to my eyes. That's the most important thing. All right, we are at Domino's. Heck yeah! All right, so there's a long line for pizza, so I can just wait. Let's see. Had anybody had any sort of reservations about me driving? No. I took it very seriously too. Um, and I just trained really hard with with driving, and for me, driving actually came pretty easy for me. And I don't know why. I think it just depends on the person's ability, but um, do I love to drive? Absolutely. My wife hates driving, so I do all the driving for my family. My wife's hearing, my kids are hearing, but they're more than happy to have me do all the driving, so that's totally fine with me. And it's actually relaxing because, like I said, my eyes are my ears, so I actually really enjoy the size of everything. Yes, I hate traffic as much as anybody else, but in North Carolina with trees everywhere, it really, really, really gets beautiful during the drive. Do I listen to music while I drive? Yeah, I do. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Most of the time, I do silence, and I actually enjoy the road noises for whatever reason. Um, and yeah, it just comes down to a preference thing. I wonder why a lot of people are worried about deaf people driving, and really, it's just sound. I mean, yes, it's important, but at the same time, it's all about perspective too. And believe me, there are a lot of hearing drivers that I know that shouldn't be on the road in the first place, anyways. So, got that. Pizza's here. Can you get my pizza? Awesome. Thank you so much. Got the pizza. All right. Ooh. Parmesan bread bites. My gosh. They just sounded so good today. Okay. We've got the pizza. Now we are going to drive home. All right. So, one of the nice perks about being deaf and driving is the horns, right? There's a lot of impatient drivers out there, and if somebody just fed up and blowing the horn at me, guess what? I don't have to listen to it at all. They can just go on their merry old way. I'm gonna go on my merry old way, and it's all good. And I'm pretty sure I've had people blow their horns at me before, just like anybody. But you know what? I didn't hear it, and I don't care. The next section here, just waiting at a red light. Like I said, I'm always watching for any sort of car that's running past, even including emergency vehicles, because that can happen. And I'm not seeing any. We're not hearing anything at the moment, so that's pretty good. And just like I noticed, there's a car on my side too, and I'm just like I said, using visual peripheral vision just to make sure that everybody's clear on my end. And I would say that my peripheral vision has actually really helped me in a lot of time too, because I literally have to use all focus areas of my eyes just to see what's going on. And there have been instances where I can see something going on that I need to be watching out for just to the side of my eyes, and I'll be like, okay, make sure that this guy doesn't cut across the lane, get ready to brake and all that. And it saves me quite a bit of time too. Many times actually. Just like anybody else, I'm not just driving for me, but I'm also driving for the other folks on the road. That's typical. So have I driven everywhere? Yes, I've driven like in small rural towns. I've driven in big metropolitan areas. Um, and you know what? Honestly, I like driving in both. Maybe the metropolitan area not so much because you have heavy traffic and then you're watching out for many cars and then traffic delays. That annoyed me just like anybody else too. But that's just how it is. That we are home. Thank you for watching. Please consider subscribing to my channel below. Thanks for watching.